right. So the Reasonable and Rational podcast is back for our. What episode is this, Rob? Is this number 6? Sixth episode. Could be our best one. We have Glenn Murray, current FedEx guru, but also a former Major League Baseball player. Probably had some looks as a college football player at some point, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see some Facebook posts where you're running behind some big old country guys.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, happy here to chat with Glenn. Glenn, I've gotten to know a little bit through Facebook. We didn't play together for the Nashua Pride, but we spent some time in the organization at some point, and we got to know each other a little bit through played a little over 30 baseball together and or against each other, and he was gracious enough to come on the show. He's I saw him do some Facebook posts. He's got some opinions. He's got some thoughts, and I really was happy. I'm really happy to have him here, to be honest. So, like I said, we just kind of just talk. Current events kind of slowed down a little bit over the last week or so compared to the 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, big time.
But you've got some thoughts and you've got some opinions. I'd love to hear some of them, and I'll lead you a little bit.
Okay.
We'll talk some baseball during this as well. But
Okay.
but the first time the first impact I had was you had done a Facebook Live. You were just sharing your opinion in general in reaction to the George Floyd murder. I guess we would say it. What do you think? What did you think then, and how do you feel now?
I wouldn't watch it. I wouldn't watch the whole thing when it first came out. I never watched it. I saw a still photo of the officer with his knee on George's neck, and it was just something about the look in his eye. And this was a still photo. The look in his eye told me everything I needed to know. I didn't need to see the video. I just saw the video for the first time last week, which that was when the court released the cam,
The video,
which is even to me is even more damning. But it was. You just get tired of seeing. It's like sometimes you get life on repeat.
Yeah, it does seem like we're on a broken record a little bit.
Yes.
Now, media is a big part of that.
Yes.
I'm guessing. I've never been a black man growing up. I've never been that. I've been scared in different times in my life. I can't imagine being fearful for reasons that I can't explain.
Right.
I don't even know where to begin, but I think you do.
If we think back to the beginning of hip hop, they were exposing a lot of it,
Okay.
and a lot of people didn't hear it. Even though NWA was, they heard that one.
Sure.
Because they came out and blatantly expressed themselves about it. It wasn't until Rodney King until it was like, wait a minute,
Something's wrong.
something's wrong here. And then you're starting to get people with, now they have video cameras. Now everybody has a phone camera. So what a lot of you guys who haven't experienced it and can't even fathom it are just now learning through the media, through social, through people with cell phones. A lot of people, inner city people, have seen this their whole entire lives.
Which it's almost incomprehensible for someone like myself, and I would say that I have black friends. I've been in locker rooms. Being in a locker room is a little bit different, right? You get to be in a locker room. You're a team.
Right.
Doesn't matter what color you are. Doesn't matter what race you are.
Sometimes.
Well, sometimes. And I'm sure there's more to that as well.
Yeah.
From my experience, anyway. I would say I would shield myself when I hear the term racism. I would say that's not me because I hang out. I play ball. That's not me. But the more I've heard, my eyes woke up. In these last few months. I couldn't, the amount I've learned about the history, and when we talk about Juneteenth, and oh my God, I didn't know. Is that
right?
And I don't, and I'm not
Right.
even sure that's me being ignorant. I just
No,
don't.
it's
It's just the system is not designed
No.
for that information to get shared with
No.
us growing
No.
up.
And I had a buddy, he's young, he's a white kid from up north in New Hampshire, but he works with me, and he 100 questions me a day because he has no idea.
Sure.
And matter of fact, now he's down in North Carolina. I'm like, hey, be careful. I'm like, that's KKK Haven down there. They got signs where they recruit. He goes, serious? Like, yeah, just keep your eyes open.
Yeah.
Like, he's amazed, but it's because, it's not taught. The entire American history isn't taught. And that's what he was like, oh, maybe they should teach Black history and American history. I'm like, I don't think that'll ever happen, because it would, to me, that would create a lot of turmoil the first couple years that it's done, because what you'll see is what we're seeing now magnified.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because as a Black person now, I'm mad at you. I don't even know you, but these history books say a person that looked like you did this to a person that looks like me. It'll be turmoil. You can't do it.
So how do you have an opinion?
If I
How do
could
you fix it?
interject here, I talk about
Hey,
this all the time. Hi, guys. How you doing, guys? I talk about all the time that growing up in high school in New Hampshire, and getting the textbooks that you read, there's like a page on Martin Luther King. I was big into rap in the 80s and 90s. I learned everything I know about Malcolm X by listening to Public Enemy.
Yes.
And going out and buying books about Malcolm X and the
Yes.
FBI file what they had on Malcolm X. And the fact that Martin Luther King would have never been able to do what he did if Malcolm X didn't exist. Because in the eyes of the FBI and white America, Martin Luther King was, well, at least he's not Malcolm X and the Black Panthers and Elijah Muhammad.
Right.
That's why Malcolm is so important to Black history, just as important as Martin Luther King. Because Martin Luther King, they probably would have taken him out a long time before they did if Malcolm X wasn't around, because he was the lesser of two evils in their eyes.
Right.
And that's where I learned everything, not in school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have any thoughts? So what do you do? What should happen right now? What do you think? Is what's happening? Is this the beginning of the evolution of knowledge being shared and history being learned, or what? How do you feel about?
Well, I mean, it takes a conversation, or respectful conversation. A lot of conversations happen, but the minute an insult or something someone doesn't like is thrown out, then the whole conversation goes awry. It's done. And I tell some of the guys on our major league page, hey, it's just let's have an adult conversation, like respect, like we would have in a locker room.
Yeah.
This wouldn't happen in a locker room. A lot of these things we see in social media, excuse me, with the back and forth arguing, if you sit these two people together, guaranteed it wouldn't happen. And I think what social media allows for is, people to not bully, but there's things that I've seen that I know somebody wouldn't say to this guy face to face.
Yeah. Well,
And it's a crowd too. There's a crowd there, so if you got a crowd, you have an audience. Somebody's going to play up to it, and
social media tends to be some way, where people who may or may not have a social circle or something like that, they're finding that they're getting common ground, commonality with people
Yes.
that they don't have in a normal everyday situation. That maybe we had 20 years ago, right? And so if they have the opinion A, and they know that 100 people are going to be in favor of that, yeah, you're right. They may not say the same things that they would in person.
right.
So, I mean, all along, I've said social media is actually, although there's a lot of information out there and you get a lot of it, it's definitely destroying a lot of it's destroying the way people communicate.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's taking personality away from people. And
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
you mentioned George Floyd's eyes. All you had to see, you can look in someone's eyes and know whether or not they're telling the truth or whether or not. You can do that.
Yeah.
You can't do that in social media.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
It's and people get called out all the time. I mentioned here. My mom is. I would say she's probably as far left as I can imagine anybody being, and I'm not. I'm way more in the middle, and so she posts some things here and there, and I'll call her out on it. And,
Yeah.
But then I'll get attacked by her friends that I don't even know if she actually physically knows them. I just know that they have some social media ties, and I get attacked bad. Like, you know, it's hard, and then fortunately my mom has decided that, okay, she's going to take a step back a
Yeah,
little bit, so
yeah.
she did that. But yeah, it's a tough world we live in. So now you mentioned earlier you have 5 daughters.
5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So they're learning through the school systems right now. How old are they?
16. She's in North Carolina,
Okay.
and we have a 13-year-old, 11-year-old, a 10, and a 5.
So good for you. You're busy. So
Yeah.
you're putting the miles on the caravan. I'm guessing. Not to say that you have a caravan, but you're.
Oh yeah, no, that's what it is. That's why I bought it.
Okay. Yeah. So you're out there. You're putting the miles on. But so 2 things. My first thought is, okay. So you know what they're learning in school, but you also know that you have some life history that you can teach.
Yes.
Are you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you
I
feel
do.
that they're learning what they should be learning?
Yeah, yeah. My 16-year-old, her grandparents, her grandmother, actually on her mom's side, is very, very influential, and I also learned a lot from her when I was married to her mom. So yeah, and that their whole family, they're very influential. At the same time, my fiance, she's from New Hampshire,
Ah. All right.
sheltered.
So a little different. Shoot, sheltered from North Carolina. Absolutely.
She was sheltered, and she will tell you that.
Okay.
And this stuff has always been in the air, not to the degree that it is now. And she's seen some things happen to me, and I'll go, told you.
Really? Are you experiencing racism here locally?
I have,
You have?
yeah, but not
Not.
anything
No.
that it's just like a one-off situation or whatever. It's just like, seriously.
So you look at that and say, okay, so that's someone being ignorant.
Right.
At best, right? Or
Right.
At best, right? It could be worse, but
Right.
it's at least being ignorant. So
And they were far away, so it was like you
Yeah.
just
you just
whatever.
You let it roll off
Yeah,
your shoulders.
yeah.
Well, I'm encouraged to hear that a little bit because I've a gentleman in town whose daughters played softball and is black, and he mentioned during Facebook. Oh boy, everybody wants to share their opinions, and of course, not everybody knows the truth. And it was awful to hear that he hit one of his daughters growing up in the middle school right here in town. Had to deal with the N-word on the
My
in the
daughter did.
bathroom, on the bathroom wall in this town in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And again, it blew me away. I said, I can't even believe that is happening. And I don't want to turn this into a racial,
Yeah.
thing, but I guess I do think I am certainly more aware. I'm certainly more cognizant of the way I talk and what I see, what I say, and I hope that people are also as well. I think I'm getting that. I'm somewhat encouraged to hear that you don't see it maybe too often around here, at least, and I'm not. So that's to me that's somewhat of a positive.
But it's mutual. It has to be mutual from both sides, from all sides, all races. It has to be mutual. It just can't be you going, oh, I get it, and then me just going, yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's why the conversation has to happen. So you tell me what you experience, what you may know. I'll tell you mine. That way we
Sure.
can trade a little bit, have some understanding about how you think and then about how I think.
And if
That's-
we can both
that's it.
process information,
Right. That's that's an advantage for
sense.
everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether we agree or not, now I know.
Yeah.
So
dialogue.
that's how it. That's the only way it's going to work. We don't have to agree, but because we don't agree, don't mean that I hate you.
Right, right, and that's important to know because I support police. All right,
Right.
you support police.
Right.
You have police.
I have friends. I have families. All police officers, fire department, everything. But because I say Black Lives Matter,
You're supposed to. Those are supposed to be two separate things.
right?
Right.
It's not
they're
saying
against
that
each
I'm
other.
anti-police.
No.
You know what I mean? And people will take this and run and make it that. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what's happening. Like I watched where people say, "Well, look, Mookie Betts said this shouldn't happen to the police." No, it shouldn't happen. And then, but if Mookie Betts, what if it was? But they try to relate it to having a black person say it, and I'm like, anybody can say that. Like, I don't know too many people that wish this would happen to a police officer or a citizen.
Right.
I don't know people like that, and if I do, then they got to get away from me. You know what I mean? Because that's a reckless. You're living reckless. You know what I mean? When you don't care about somebody else's life, they might have a wife and kids, husband or whatever at home. But if you don't just blatantly go up and shoot somebody, come on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's sad to say at the same time, like, whereas we say, these the criminals are the victims. I haven't even got to have the victims of the police brutality. As soon as they die, before they can do an autopsy, they start looking into
They hit the background.
their background. We're all human. The police officers that just got shot.
You look
Maybe
into
there
the
was
background.
something. Maybe that was something that guy they did to that guy. We don't know.
Right.
You know what I mean? So what you're saying for one, you have to say for the other.
Yeah. And
As sad as it is, that's just it is what it is.
And that's so police reform that has to happen.
Has to.
and that has to be part
Has
of it.
to happen.
Has to agree with that 100%. Touched on Mookie Betts, and I wanted to ask you from a professional athlete perspective. We've had a lot of we've had a crazy year. First of all, right? We've had a lot of stuff changes.
Insane.
Everything, right? So sports is different. Everything's different.
Right.
But the NBA started and took a couple of days off in protest, and it was up in the air at that point whether or not they were going to finish the season. Now this was a season that started in the midst of COVID anyway, right? So it was all very confusing for everybody, right? Anybody watching, but that was the first thing. Then the NFL started, and the NHL took a couple of days off. Baseball took some time off, but the NBA was probably the first and the most vocal to do that. I heard a lot of things. Right? So my first thought was, all right, from my perspective, I want to know your perspective. My perspective was, all right, I don't know. I mean, am I going to listen? Is what LeBron James does as important as to what somebody else does? Joe down the street. I don't know that it is. I don't think it's that much more important. Now that there was certainly a way for them to share some. It could be the spotlight's on and the media's there. They had an opportunity. I think they dropped the ball. I think they had a better opportunity to do some things during those couple of days than they did.
Right. Yep.
I'm wondering what your thoughts were.
I mean, to me, actually, I was surprised at the level that all of them went, that all these guys went to. I didn't expect it, especially like you're saying, the NBA. I knew LeBron would say something. I knew it. And a lot of people, but let me touch on something you said. Is it what he says more important than the average Joe? No, not at all. But because he has this and the camera in front of him,
becomes more important.
it does. You know what I mean? And you always use your platform to help somebody, whether people like it or not. If you see something's wrong, whether it be needy people, whether, we've had the football players where cancer awareness, autism awareness. You know what I mean? And it gets supported. You know what I mean?
Do you think it was good? You think it was good what they did? Overall, good.
They had to.
The right. They had to, and there's no doubt, right?
They had to.
Somebody had to, and it was
They
a good
had
start
to.
for sure.
Did they expect what you know, what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? The response, bro. Did they expect the response? Yeah. They knew what was coming.
Yeah.
But sometimes you got to do what you have to do.
Yeah.
And, you know, of course, I mean, yeah, we like it because it's bringing awareness, but I do think that there has to be a time where you step from that platform and get out in the community and put what you're saying to work. You got to become hands-on. All of us,
Yeah.
you know, myself included. We can sit here and talk all day, but until we get in the community and actually go back and forth or have productive meetings or whatever, you know, there's Zooms now, but everything's better face to face. I just, it's got to be face to face. But until we get out in the community and we get the people, okay, you don't like Black Lives Matter, okay. Do you have a problem with police brutality, and can you see the numbers, how they're disproportionate? Yeah, I can. You can. All right. Well, help me.
Yeah.
We're just bringing awareness. You know, police reform. I don't. You know, the whole defunding the police. I'm not. I don't even know. I didn't even get involved in that.
Doesn't
I didn't
make
even. Doesn't make sense.
Just the two words don't make sense. You
Right.
defund the police, then where's law and order?
Right.
Yeah. 'Cause there is still
Police
some law and
reform.
order. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yep.
I you know, I agree with that, and it sucks because there's really not that many bad police officers out there, but one bad apple, and look where we're at.
Yeah.
One or two bad apples, you know, look where we're at.
Well, you know, where I see where the problem is that one bad apple having 15, 16, 17 chances
Yes.
to prove that
Yes.
he's a bad apple.
Yes.
That's the problem, right?
Yeah.
You can't always pick the bad apple out of the bunch right away.
Yeah.
But if you keep picking the same bad apple, you got to throw it away.
Right.
Right.
And see, the police also, they have the same code as the streets. No snitching.
Yeah.
So, you know, so if they are a whistleblower, then they get, oh, he's a whistleblower, he's a rat.
And now everybody's against him. And,
Right,
you
but
know, her.
but this is the same attitude of the people in the streets.
Right.
You know, so
Yeah. With law and order. Again, you're sworn to protect.
yeah.
It's definitely a conundrum, but it's got to, you know, the more awareness we get, the better
Yes.
off we can be.
Yes.
So I guess continue with that.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely. You know, I saw, was it Morgan Freeman? He was speaking on it, and I agreed with a lot what he said. But he said if you don't talk about racism, it'll disappear. And I was like, not that one. You lost me on that one, Morgan.
That doesn't sound. Yeah, he's usually pretty good.
You know, I don't want to quote him, but I thought that's what he said. And I'm like, that's kind of like saying if we don't talk about COVID, it'll disappear.
Wasn't that's true, right? Because it's fake.
Hey,
Now, you
matter
deal
of
with
fact, we just had one of our baseball coaches. Now he's a coach, scout. Sorry, Charles Peterson he's from South Carolina, first round draft pick for the Pirates in '93, I think it was, and 46 years old.
He died.
Like last week or so ago.
Yeah. Now you have you had some family members
Yeah,
catch it?
one of my family members passed away
Did-
early on. She was 55, I think, but she was in the gym all the time.
Yeah.
You know, she worked out.
So she was in good shape. And
She was in good shape, but I don't know if they said she had pneumonia or something before that, and then got better, and then caught COVID like right after. So which is basically the same type of deal from what I'm.
It's what they're saying, right? If you have some pre-existing condition, then you're attacked a little bit harder, supposedly. But
Because
but you
you're
do
weakened.
Hear,
You're
you do
weakened.
hear, some really fit people that aren't sick, are catching, are
Yes.
getting sick, and then of course there's the asymptomatic. What is I'm curious. So what is FedEx must have some pretty strict rules about that for drivers and interacting with people. Yeah, I don't know. There's a grin here.
Not really.
No?
I mean,
No, you don't have to.
well, one, I don't think they really want to impede on anybody's
Don't get yourself in trouble here.
right. You know, what I mean,
Yeah.
like we have restrictions going into the building.
Okay.
Of course, they would recommend,
Yeah.
when you interact or whatever.
Is it different? Is that a national thing for the company, or international thing for the company, or is it more regional? Do you think? Because we're not as affected nearly as much as.
I think
South
that
is, yeah.
it's a regional thing because, it's like we don't have high numbers here.
Right.
You go to South Carolina, Florida, or whatever else, and it was like, you have to attack it different. But here, I think we're a little bit more laxed, if you want to say that.
That's
Just
interesting.
because of the numbers. At the beginning,
It was flipped a little bit.
it was,
Yeah.
hey,
We're usually more uptight here in the north and a lot more laid back in the south. But
Right,
that's
right.
kind of switching a little bit,
Right,
at least from
right.
a COVID standpoint.
yeah.
Yeah. When I do these conversations, my mind goes in different directions. And how do we segue to the next thing? And there's so much more we can talk about. And maybe we can do another time, another subject. But Rob, you have any thoughts on anything? You still on the headphones here?
Well, if you want to get off, like, racials, you could talk about,
I can't hear you if that matters.
Supreme Court.
Huh?
Talk about the Supreme Court.
The election of the selection of.
Take her, get a new one right away, or wait.
I honestly cannot hear you. You don't have your headphones on.
The Supreme Court.
Oh.
Should we wait?
Oh
They
yeah.
just-
You have any thoughts? So we know. I'll say what I've been saying.
Okay.
So, rest in peace, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She was a great woman. She did a lot of great things for equality, and there's nothing. I don't think anybody can say anything bad about her. Well, I'm sure somebody can, but we're not gonna, or I'm not gonna.
Right.
But she did in 2016 say that they needed to replace the seat during the election. She said that.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently now her dying wish is that they do not do that until they have a new president. My question is, what if the current president remains the current president in 2020 after November 4th, 3rd, and they try to honor her dying wish? Do we not replace until 4 more years later, or what? Because so you have the political sides. The Democrats don't want to pick the new seat until Biden wins. They haven't said until Biden wins. They say until we have a new president is what they say.
Mm-hmm.
But the Republicans, they want to name this. They want to name the seat now.
My thing is, we should have had it in law on paper what to do.
Well, it is right. So
the
Keith
way
Buxton will tell
they're
you.
saying it is, but everybody there must be some gray in there because.
Well,
We
it's
do
politics.
it this way, yeah. You guys are this way, but now we're going to change it. With this close to the election, I would just say wait till after the election.
It seems
No
like that
matter who
makes
the
some sense,
president is,
right? Yeah, make the decision.
make the decision.
But in what Ruth RBG's her quote in 2016 was, "The president's job doesn't stop, and the president's job is to replace the seat,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't stop just because we're in an election. So if it's his job, and in 2016 it was Obama's job to do it,
Mm-hmm. Right now it's Trump's
right
job.
now it's Trump's job to do it.
Right.
So that's what it says. But you see every Republican, Ted Cruz and all the others who in 2016 were fighting against letting it happen while Obama was still
Of
president.
course.
Now they're all for it. So it's crazy. So I don't know what the right answer
That's
is.
how the world works. You know what I mean? When
Yeah.
it's when it's to your advantage, use it. When it's not,
Yeah.
block it.
Well, that's politics, right? Yeah. But I
It's
guess
politics.
I guess if it is in writing though, and that's the job, then they
Right.
should do it. They should do the right thing, which
Right.
is what the job should be.
But they should also learn from this situation and define, like, you have to take the chance, the opportunity while it's in front of you, and correct it if there is any gray area in it. You have to. Won't be the last time this happened.
No.
You know, I doubt it. You know, so you have to address the situations. Hey, let's not argue. This is our country still. Can we not come together as Democrats, Republicans, as Americans, and say, hey, this is what we're gonna do? Okay, let's do it. There's a everybody can be pleased, but do they want to work to do it? I doubt it. You know.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's politics is dumb.
Oh,
In general, that's
crazy.
That's a good quote by me. I think I can put that on a wall. Politics is dumb. So you've been following the football season. Are you a football fan? So
yeah, I'm a Steelers fan.
You're a Steelers fan.
Yeah.
Now you can say Steelers true and true. There's no.
Never
so,
been
you know,
enough.
we have a mutual contact by the name of Roper. I think his name is who has 4 favorite teams, right?
Maybe 5.
Cowboys, Patriots, Falcons, whoever.
Cowboys, Patriots. Who else is this team? Who make them up
Carolina,
as he
I don't
goes?
think
Yeah,
any-
Carolina probably is
Yeah.
in there somewhere, and probably the Bengals. I would think the Bengals.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So but the Steelers is yours.
Yeah.
All right. So I have good friends, and I have a couple other good friends that are Steeler fans, and they're true. They bleed Steeler
Yeah.
black and gold, I guess, right?
Since '77.
Since '77, since the back in the Steel Curtain days. So what you're watching on TV on Sundays, same? You feel good about it compared to what you've seen in the past with full stands or whatever? Good product.
I tell you what, for what it is, the players, I got to give them credit, because as an athlete, the hardest thing to do is be at game speed with an empty stadium.
I can't imagine, but I can imagine.
You know what I mean? You know, it's just something about having a packed stadium that is like, you know, now it's showtime. The big lights are on, you know. Now it's kind of like, yeah, the lights are on, but there's nobody here.
Nobody here.
You know, and because it's almost like a practice. You know what I mean? So for them to be able to turn it up and do the things they're doing right now, which is, you know, it's good football.
Yeah, I think so.
It's good football. I gotta applaud them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, you know,
It's entertaining still. They seem to be playing hard, and nobody's taking
they're
time off.
playing hard. That's the thing. Is they're playing hard. It's not like whatever.
Now I'm a big Red Sox fan, so I might say a little bit different about baseball. Like when it first started, when it first came back, those first few weeks, I didn't think it was very good baseball,
No, it wasn't.
and it's starting to get a little bit better now.
Because you're basically at the end of spring training.
I guess so. Part of it, and they're getting used to it. Yes, it was
know.
It was definitely not good baseball in
Yeah.
the beginning, and
Yeah.
but it is getting a little better as we get into the playoffs. You know, going towards the playoffs. But football just didn't seem to skip a beat. Now they did get
Right.
I guess they did get a training camp.
Yeah.
So which
Yeah.
is a little bit different.
There wasn't a baseball when they were in spring training when COVID hit.
Right.
So, you know, you're here. They shut it down. Now you don't know what's going on. You know, and I think some of them may have stayed and worked out.
Yeah.
I've heard or whatever.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's nothing like baseball has to be played every day.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
that one sport that you have to play it every day. That's the only way you get better. And just having that downtime and then going, let's go. We got to go.
Yep.
And we had 30-something, 40-some odd pitchers going to DL.
Yeah.
They weren't ready.
Yeah. It was crazy, and
You know.
the Red Sox have had 16 starting pitchers this year. They were going to call
You know
Rob.
what?
Rob Fay was going to come out for the bullpen.
And that wasn't even enough. You know what I mean? So, you know, they were going through a transition anyway, and you know, for this to hit, and you got a change of you changed your manager. Mookie's gone.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh yeah, the Red Sox. Yeah.
so
That's a tough year.
it's tough. I mean, look at what's the big guy's name? The righty.
JD.
What is it?
JD Martinez.
Yes.
Yeah.
Struggling.
Can't hit.
He
All of
can't
a
hit
sudden
the
he-
backside of a barn
was
right
the
now.
best hitter, one of the best hitters in baseball. Can't hit this
Yeah,
year.
I'm watching them. You know, I watch a couple games when I can. And I'm like, did he just miss that slider by like 2 feet almost?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
They've replayed it, and I'm going, something's, you know, maybe he's mentally not
Yeah.
into it because of.
They say he's, he was big on video. He would go back. They can't use video in the dugout right now, so apparently he was big on it, where he, go back after an at bat, look at the video, and then be ready for the next time or,
Yeah.
or whatever. And they say he hasn't been able to adjust not well enough without video, which to me is odd. I think you're a hitter. You hit if you can hit, you can hit. Right? I thought
For me,
I thought I'd have a.
I'm a video guy, but I'm a video guy not during the game.
Okay.
And if I'm going to watch video, it's probably going to be a little bit of me, and if we have it on the picture, it's going to be a lot of him. I was people call it guess hitting.
Guess hitter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's like
Well, you were a
I'm
guesser.
not really guessing. But if I'm watching, if I'm paying attention to the game,
Yeah.
okay, fastball in,
Yep.
oh, ball, fastball in again, ball, fastball away, strike. Okay, next batter, fastball in, ball.
What do you think is going to happen what's the likelihood of you seeing that fastball in?
For a strike.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, he's not getting his curveball over today. Oh, but if he does get it over, it's a hanger. It's not biting.
Right.
It's just
Yeah.
little stuff like that.
That's
That's on the fly though. I mean, like I don't go watch film. I have to watch the pitcher live.
yeah.
And I'm like, he's doing this when he throws the curveball or
So did you do that in high school?
no.
No,
Never knew
right.
about it in high school.
So right, but you were still a great hitter though, weren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I was kind of back to my point. So the higher you get in any sport, I think you have a little bit more. Somebody tells you, okay, well, keep an eye on this, watch this,
Getting
see
the edge.
tendencies and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
That's coaching, right? So
Yep, trying to
you're
get an
learning and
edge.
you're able to, and if you can take the coaching and then apply it,
Mm-hmm.
the world's your oyster. But going back to high school, I didn't know anything about hitting then, but I could hit. You could hit in high school.
Swing level.
You could hit, and you would hit for the rest of your life. You could
Yeah,
still hit.
yeah, I can still hit.
I think I could still hit.
Yeah.
Why can't JD still hit?
Well, I don't know if I'll be able to hit what JD's trying to hit, but I can hit, But
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's
you got to remember, dude. He's a guy that a pitcher has to pay attention to.
okay. So they're at their most focus.
He's that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some guys you can, they'll take a break. Whatever, he's not gonna hurt me that bad. But you get somebody in there, you get a Mookie Betts in there, and it's just like, okay,
Yeah.
you got to zone in now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or you get Trout in there. Oh, I got to zone in now.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't even imagine what it was like pitching to Barry Bonds. I mean, I played in the outfield when he was hitting, and I'm sitting here going like, what you
You can't throw him
What do you
anything,
do?
right?
You know what I mean? Like he was steroids, whatever. I've seen guys take steroids and still hit $150.
Right. Well,
That didn't bother me. Steroids did not bother me at all. I mean, I didn't take them, but guys taking them didn't bother me. But it was in baseball when I came in baseball in '89. It was already there, They were like, oh, well, you make it hit the ball off. Well, the bats we use are pretty damn good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if
It's
you're
not-
Barry Bonds, you're gonna get the best bats they have.
Right. Steroids wasn't going to make him a better hitter. They were going to make him recover quicker so that he
Recovery
could stay stronger or longer.
Longer, right?
And that's
But you got to remember too, though. If you remember back when we went on strike in '94, and came back in '95, everybody's like, "Oh, I'm not watching baseball ever again. I'm not. You guys are selfish and blah blah blah." Okay,
that didn't happen.
didn't happen.
I do have I did buy a case of 1994 World Series baseballs, however.
Oh, but the ones where
The
it was
one that-
supposed to be the
the one that was
Expos.
never
The
played.
Expos
Yeah.
were going to go. Expos were headed there.
Yeah.
But if you look at the stadiums they've built since the strike, You ever notice how they're a
little bit
little
tighter.
bit smaller? So you're gonna have more home. Look at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
Like that was smaller. That's smaller than than the other one, and the other one was small.
Yeah.
That's a wiffle ball field.
Thank
Yes.
you. You know, you look at like I got to play in Camden Yards before, well, this was after the strike, but I'm playing over there and I'm going, dude, if I ever got a chance to be in the big leagues and play here, I'm gonna hit 600 home runs.
600.
200 by mistake. You know what I mean? Seriously, like, we were hitting balls in BP, it's like what is
12 rows deep.
yeah, it's and then watching, we had Mark Whitten with us in Philly,
Yeah,
and he's
401.
taking BP and hitting that ball like out the right field, and it's just like, oh my, like, oh,
Yeah.
like this field is smaller than my high school field,
Yeah.
but people don't
Right.
realize what happened because they put so much entertainment in the field besides just pure baseball.
Yep.
Milwaukee has the guy that slides down. That's pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it, but to a purist, that no. But I like it. But it is what it is.
I want to. So we try to go 45, 46 minutes, and then we kind of end the show. So I'm
Right.
gonna end this one on. And I'd love you to come back another time and we
Sure,
can do
sure.
more because it's just a lot of fun for me anyway. I'm gonna give you a baseball story that I had with Pride that I enjoyed as a fan / coach at the time,
Okay.
and I did get one at bat, by the way. I did get paid one day to play. And then you tell me one story that you have that is something like it.
Okay.
Or not like mine, but something
Okay.
that you remember that's fun for people. So we were talking a little bit about this. Outside. We were in a we got rained out in Atlantic City, and on the team were Felix Jose, David Hulse, Milt Kyler, Joe Gray. These are all big leaguers. Tony Rodriguez.
Yeah, T-Rod.
Yeah, T-Rod. He was actually my favorite player. He gave me a glove from Luis Aguayo gave him.
Yeah, Luis,
I
yeah.
still have that to this day. Felix gave me Sosa's cleats.
Oh,
Sosa's cleats in 1998, and I wore them forever. And they're gone. That was dumb. Anyway, so we're in a rainout in Atlantic City. So we're in the hotel. And we're sitting there waiting for the call, and it's pouring. There's no way we're going to play, but so we all kind of congregated into one room, and we're watching This Week in Baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there, and again, for me, these are guys that have been to the show, and I'm sitting there. I'm not that guy.
Right.
I would love to have been that guy, but here I am sitting with these guys, and it was very surreal for me. It was awesome. I loved it.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting there, and I'm sitting shoulder to shoulder with David Hulse and a couple other guys on the couch, a couple other guys. We're watching, and he nudged me, he goes, "Watch this." He goes, "This is hilarious." I'm like, "Oh," and we're watching This Week in Baseball, and of course he's in the next clip, which happens to be the one where the ball goes off Canseco's
Jose's
head.
head, yeah.
Hulse is the center fielder, and he's telling me to watch this. Watch what I do, and he says, he just started cracking up. He said, and you would never see that. Like you would never
Right,
know that.
right.
He's just laughing his ass off at Canseco when the ball hits him in the head.
Yeah.
And I thought that was one of the coolest things that I've ever done. So anyway,
Yeah, man. Baseball. That's one thing about baseball. I mean, because you're there every day. You know what I mean? And I remember being in Puerto Rico, playing in Puerto Rico, winter ball. Mike Easler was my manager,
Hitman.
and so I go down there, and they set the plane in Mexico. Mexico a little bit different. They don't have as many big names in Mexico except the Mexican guys, which is few and far between. So I get down to Puerto Rico, and there's Eduardo Perez, Melvin Nieves, Juan Gonzalez, Henry Cotto, Pudge Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Now Hiram Boca Chica, who ended up playing in so, and I'm sitting there like, I look like I'm gonna hit about 7th on this team, because I'm I'm only 23 at the time.
And you thought you were going there to going to be the stud, right?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I kind of knew, but I just didn't know who was on the team, And sure enough, 3-hole.
Really?
I forgot who led off. Pudge hit second. I'm hitting third. Igor's hitting fourth. Huge. Igor's big man. He's a big man. So we're playing one of the first games, and I'm like, all right, I gotta prove myself. I'm hyped. Come out, and I think it was Ricky Bonus that was pitching, and smoked the line drive to center field. Now I've played against Carl Everett. Me and Carl played against each other. Well, Carl breaks in, and I was like, he misjudged it because the ball wasn't coming down.
Yeah.
Guess what? I'm going three. So I go three, dive in, get up, yeah. Shaking the coach hand, doing all this. And I went, shit. Now I'm less than 90 feet from Igor. Because he's coming up after me.
And that's scary. You were scared.
I've never been that
Should've stayed at
scared.
second base. Huh?
In that, I was like, you know what? I will never hit another triple in Puerto Rico as long as I'm hitting in front of Igor. And he came up, and it's like, okay, that's like saying to a third baseman, hey, I need you to play on the cut of the grass. I got to take a lead.
Right.
I'm there, and I'm taking my lead this way, like that way. And he hits one, just straight down the line, but it was like 500 feet.
Yeah.
And it was fair. And I was like, oh, thank God, this is over. I'll tell everybody that story, man, because you get. It's one of those, to me, it's so funny because you want to prove yourself, and then you just realize I shouldn't have been over here.
What I just do.
Yeah, it's hard enough being that second with him hitting in BP because he hits so many hard line drives.
For in case there are people that are watching that don't understand what you're talking about. So you got a third baseman. You mentioned the cut of the grass, and typically they'll play 5 steps behind the bag. With a big right-handed hitter up.
Or sometimes even
further
3
than that.
steps in front of the outfield grass. Right.
But then you got a third base coach who sometimes will go down that would take a lead with you, but I guarantee that guy is probably 10 steps behind the bag.
Yeah,
and you have to go towards him to lead off the base. And so those big guys, man, they hit some line drives for sure.
Oh,
well, I'm glad you made it through that.
Oh my gosh, it was. I laugh at myself because it's just like one of those things, you know what I mean? Like you didn't even think that through, did you?
That's actually kind of funny that in a lifetime full of baseball memories, that's the one that you came up with.
Yeah, because it just that one that it scared you so bad that it was like funny.
Yeah,
that's
cool. That's a lot of fun. Listen, man, I really appreciate you being here.
Oh yeah,
this
appreciate
is time.
it. I appreciate it.
It was good to get to know you a little bit too, and maybe we can do this again sometime when you have time. If you enjoyed yourself, maybe we can come back and do it again. Rob, we're gonna sign off. I don't think you have your headphones on, so you can't talk to us. Yep, thumbs up from Rob. That means I guess we're good. So episode 6 is in the books. Thanks for watching, and feel free to comment. See if we can get Glenn to come back again. We'll talk some good baseball stuff. We'll get some more stuff to talk about.
I'll be back.
All right. Good stuff.